Stacy Holbrook was raised in a strong Christian family. She was Daddy's little girl.
I looked up to him because he loved people and he loved life, and he always had this joy about him, and he was always he always had something hilarious to say. He also was the kind of dad that if I had a question about anything, whether it be the Bible or any life topic, he'd sit me down and answer the question, for 2 hours if I needed it.
However, when Stacy was 19 years old, her father was diagnosed with an irreversible strain of hepatitis C. For treatment, he had to undergo a series of chemotherapy injections. Because of the treatments, Stacy's father fell into a deep depression, and without his family's knowledge, he began to self-medicate.
That quick started a habit, out of his best intentions.
His addiction to prescription drugs quickly snowballed into a crack cocaine addiction. Stacy's family began to notice his suspicious behavior.
We'd find all sorts of paraphernalia, and he would go into rehab facilities, and because of insurance, he'd be back on the streets within days.
On March 5th, 2004, Stacy remembers leaving for work at the same time as her dad.
Both making our lunches at the same time, and he was my dad. He was acting like my dad I knew from before. Things were normal, and we pulled out of the parking lot at the same time, and as he's exiting, he's just waving his hand out the window, and that was the last time I ever saw him.
Stacy's father was last seen on the afternoon of March 5th, cashing a check at his local bank.
He didn't come home that night. 2 days later was my little brother's birthday, and it was just abnormal, just bizarre for him not to have come home or call. And at first we were scared, and then you're mad, and then a week goes by and things aren't okay. We started making missing persons flyers pretty immediately and posting them whenever we could. 6 weeks went by. I'm at work, and I get a phone call from my mom that my dad's car had been found.
52-year-old James Wesley Holbrook was last seen driving near Central Expressway in March. Dallas police found his car abandoned a short time later.
A search and rescue team and the family began to sweep the field where the car had been found. About 20 minutes into the search, Stacy's brother called her cell phone from the opposite side of the field.
I answer the phone, and he says, "Stacy, I found him. I found his skull. I'm standing by his skull." It's so weird to see somebody that has always been so strong be scattered like that and broken.
Because of the history of his drug use, the police did not pursue the case as a homicide for long. The family was simply left with a lot of questions and very few answers.
Once the calm set in, once we realized that this 9 months of searching was over, I was filled with anxiety and darkness and doubt about all the things that I'd believed in and about what he taught me. Not because he failed me, but because I felt like God failed him.
At first, Stacy could barely leave her home, even to take out the trash or check the mail. She slept constantly and would often show up for work hours late.
Well, it felt like I couldn't breathe. It felt like I was overwhelmed to wake up. There came a point where, after trying a variety of antidepressants and anti-anxiety, that I decided I need to get out of this house.
One day, a friend invited Stacy to return to church. She accepted the offer just so she could keep her mind busy.
It seemed like I was always there. But when I was there, I was mad the whole time. And people would get up on the stage and they'd tell their testimonies, and I'd be filled with bitterness and sarcasm, and you have no idea. You have no idea. Pretty soon, just people being sweet and showing God's love to me broke through that, and feeling his presence and worship services. And one day I just said, I cannot believe I've been so angry at you. And it was a long process, years, but he always kept me close.
As Stacy began to trust God more, she started the process of coming off her medications. She found she was able to function again in her day-to-day activities, but there was one last thing the anxiety wouldn't allow her to do: read her Bible.
One day I said, "Okay, God, I'm turning everything off. I'm going to go in the room and I'm just going to read, and it's just going to be me and you." I got really excited for no reason and kept reading. Like back when I'd first given my heart to Christ, it was like a window opened up, like fresh air came in and just brought newness.
Today, Stacy is off of all of her anti-anxiety medications. She's a full-time teacher and engaged to Zach, who she met at church.
Out of all the things that you've tried, if you just trust that he's the only one that can fix it. God can take those horrible things and make them beautiful. It's a freedom and it's a relationship with God where I know Jesus is my Savior, and so thankful to know the truth. And it's only because of that that I know that I'm free and that I'm not bound by anything on this earth, and that I have a future.